Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th of 1986. Today I want to talk about something that I think is a little eye-opening for me and having a couple of realization of what it is that we as people are kind of all about in reality, that we see things differently and we kind of don't understand the viewpoint of when someone else sees something differently. Such as, have you ever gone to, say, a party? You're at this party and you were just like loving it. You were just all in it. It was the best of the best. You had great conversations. You had a great music was going on, and you had great food and great drinks, and everything was just going really, really good for you. You just had an amazing time. But don't you notice that you remember seeing that other person that was just complaining? Oh, this sucks. This is no good. And you're just looking at them like, dude, this is the greatest. This is the best party I've ever been to. What's going on with you? Have you ever been to, like, say, a football game or a baseball game or Oreo, let's get down. A football game or a baseball game or a basketball game or a hockey game or anything. And you were there and you were like, man, this is the best of the best. And you just had a good time. Everything was lining up. The clouds were just right to block the sun when needed. The sun was out when it was too cold. Everything was just so nice. All the refreshments were amazing. Your food was good. All the people around you were just all cheering and having a good old time, and everything was great. But then you could see that person over there that's just, I hate this. I can't stand it. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too wet. Where all this? Why everybody's so loud? You ever noticed that? Have you ever been in a situation where you just you have it in you that you are somewhere having a really, really good time, but you also can see the people that aren't, and you're just questioning, like, what's going on with you? What are you thinking about? What's going down over there? Because that's the main thing that I want to say is sometimes with what it is that we read, that some of us can read a book. We can read a book and be like, this is the greatest book ever. This is the greatest information ever. This has brought everything to me. It is just the best of the best. It's been able to help me so much. It's been able to get me out of some problems. It's been able to teach me how to be able to live a better life than I've been living. Things are going pretty good. But once I got this book, I've got the information now. Whereas opposed, the next person gets that book and says, well, this whole book is just this, and I don't want to believe it. And there's one thing that I'm going to say is very, very interesting. And it comes down to the same thing with the party, and it comes down to the same thing with the ball game. Is when did you join? When did you show up? How long did you stay? What all did you see? Did you see the whole thing? Were you part of the whole thing? Or you just came in at certain times, at certain periods, at certain sessions? Or were you actually fully involved in the whole thing? And in most cases, the reason that you're loving it the most and really liking it the most is because you were fully involved with the entire thing. You saw it from the start to the finish. You saw the whole thing from all the troubles and trials that were going on in between, and you decided to stick through it to see what was going to happen in the end. Especially in the case of, say, it's a ball game, that you watch your team, let's say football. I think I know football scores. Yeah, you have football, and the score is at halftime. It's what's a good number? I don't even know what a good number is, but 36-0, and you're just like, man, our team's about to lose. But you were there from the beginning. You were watching them going. It's not like they weren't playing a good game, that they were just struggling a little bit, that they were just challenged, that they were just getting defeated on people doing some good stuff. You're just like, man, that was a good play. I see what happened here. Even though you're not happy with it, you're just like, I see what's going on here. That was a good play. That was some good work that they were doing. But halftime came, and then halftime passed, and then they started playing again, and then you watch that number go from 0 to 7 to 14 to 21 to, I don't know what those numbers are, but it just kept going to the point that they started to become at an equal stance. They came at an equal stance when we hit that last final number, and now we got to go into overtime. Now we went into overtime, and you watch your team do that last touchdown to be able to win it, and you were just like, woohoo, this is awesome, this is great, this is amazing. You saw the whole thing. You saw it all happen. You saw the trials and the tribulations go on. You saw when they started to come back again. You saw when things got to the point where it's like, I'm not sure who's going to win here now. We're kind of all at the edge of our seat, like, what is about to happen? What's going down? You saw the whole thing. As opposed to you coming in at a who knows when. You came in the beginning, and you saw 0 to 36, and you're like, they lost, they're not going to win. And then you quit, and you walked away, and you didn't even pay attention to it anymore. You didn't even see what was actually going on. You only saw just a little bit. You assumed that somebody lost. You assumed what things were going to be. You assumed how things were going to happen, how it was going to turn out. And your assumption is actually wrong, because in the end, if you would have watched the whole thing, you would have found out that, hey, actually everything was pretty good here. Everything turned out just as it should be. It just as a pleasing way to me to be able to be able to look at this. But if you come in at the wrong time, you're going to get the wrong experience. And if you never even pay attention to the whole time, you're going to get the extremely wrong experience. That's what I'm going to say is, again, I just have to keep talking about this hardened heart. That some of us harden our own hearts. We harden our heart because of the fact that we didn't come in and we don't want to put the time and effort in to being able to get the whole scope of all the information. We harden our hearts because we think that we are smart enough that I could take the Cliff Notes effect. I'm going to tell you that you're going to fail every time because there's something in high schools, and I don't know what kind of test you did in high school. We had to do book essays and book reviews in high school, and then college work, you got to do the same thing. The Cliff Notes book, that little yellow, I think it was yellow book, or is it orange book? Orange or yellow book, that Cliff Notes that give you the quick hits of everything that was in that book. You fail 100% of the time when you take a test based off those Cliff Notes. You have no idea of the whole theme, the whole situation going on with this book. But when you're going by those Cliff Notes, you can feel pretty empowered. You can feel pretty strong about, I know what's going on. But then when someone hits you with that test, you got 20 questions, and out of those 20, you got one that you're like, I know what the answer to that is. Those Cliff Notes hooked me up. But the other 19 questions, you're just like, I didn't know that was even in that book. I didn't even know that was a part of that book. I didn't know what was going on here. That Cliff Notes that I read is clearly not anything like what this test is and what the answers are looking for. Like you are so thrown off and so far away. And that's how I just see it as people have an understanding of realizing what the Bible is all about. You want the Cliff Notes. You want the quick, easy fix. You want to give me the message here and give it to me in 5 words so that I could just have a good understanding of it. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, you are not going to understand it. You are not going to get it. You are not going to be able to have a true representation of exactly what's going on here. You're going to see a few things and you're going to say, oh, that's what that whole book is about. And then you're going to actually read the whole book and say, man, that person that gave me those Cliff Notes, like, I wonder what their view is of this, because they really pushed me to get further and further away from it. They really didn't help me get there. But at the same time, they may be trying to help you get there, but their view of this life, of what's going on with them, is very, very different. That they themselves may have been reading this information and getting it from a Cliff Note. That's something that I think is very, very tragic about a lot of the media that we have here on the YouTube and the Instagram, on the TikTok, that everything's getting faster and faster. There's some things that you can get some valid information in 30 seconds to a minute. But when it comes down to trying to get a good understanding of learning and who God is and what he's all about, that's just not enough time. You're not going to get the whole scope, because more than likely, the person that's giving you that little minute has got themselves the same information from a minute, and them got themselves from the information from a minute, where people aren't actually getting the information from the whole source. They're just, I read a Bible verse and I'm going to pick and choose what I think it means and what I want it to mean, as opposed to what the whole entire context of everything that's going on here. Now, we can't just give you a quick hit, 1 minute, this is what the Bible is. We can't give you a series of 12 episodes of 1 minute to say this is what the Bible is. There's way more into it than that. And especially, it's such an interesting thing because it's all in your own personal perspective. Everything that you're seeing, everything that you're reading, everything that you're paying attention to is going to line up with where you are and what's going on in your life and what you experience. And it's going to be very, very different for you as opposed to me. So I can explain to you on how the Bible has helped me, but you probably and guaranteed more than likely have not been through a lot of things that I've been through. And I would hope and pray and praise that people haven't gone through some of the things that I've gone through. Life is and is always going to be and was very, 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 very different. I have stories to tell that people are just like, what the heck? Like, how'd that happen to you? Like, what's going on? That I would never want that on somebody. So when I'm reading it, I'm seeing in the seasons and the times that I need it to be able to get me to be able to get a better understanding of it. That the meaning behind it. That's why I'm going to say that this book is very, very interesting, because one person can give you a passage and it means that to them, but to someone else, it's going to mean something completely different based on the season and time of the life that you're in. And that's why I'm going to say that it's a very, very supernatural book, because it's not just written so that in reality you can completely understand it by reading it front to back one time. You got to read it like 1,000 times over and over again and over again and understand the stories again and over again to get a good understanding of it. You're never going to get the Cliff Notes of it and say, I got it figured out and I move on with the next chapter of my life because that didn't bring me the help that I need. No, that's very, 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 very just something that you need not ever to even think about doing. That you need to have a good understanding of. You need to go further and further and further and further into it. You got questions, go further into it. Don't get away from it and say that didn't give me the answers I wanted, so it must not be real and it's not right. No, you got to go further inside of it. You don't go further away from it. The further away from it you go, the more that you're going to start to get even a harder heart, because you're going to watch people that you know around you start to pick it up, start to read it, start to understand it, start to apply it. and start to witness and have these spiritual gifts happen to them and come to them. And you're just going to look at that and say, it didn't help me. Why is it helping for them? Why did it do this for them? Why did it do that for them? And then you're gonna just harden your own self more and more and more, to the point that you're going to start to become extremely envious. And a really, really envious person does what in this planet? What's going on today right now? The fact of, we can have free speech about one thing, but we can't have free speech about another thing. And that's something that is just wild, maddening to me. You know, there was some stuff going on that I was listening to that talking about we should be able to have Satanism in schools. And I'm just like, go for it. Why not? If we have free speech, then yes, we should be able to do such a thing, right? Especially if they're not coming with the message of we trying to kill people and this, because they're actually not. They're not in reality. They're just coming to the thing of worshiping the land and worshiping the earth. And it's a very, very interesting thing. But it's for us to discern, do I want to go into that or do I want to go over there? We can't shut somebody up here in this country. That's just my opinion, that somebody would say, oh, you can't put out hate there, but we have to determine what is hate, because for somebody that's actually love and appreciation, and the next person it is hate. So we can't shut one down, because then you're shutting one down without have given them a true opportunity of being able to be in a free society. But there's something that we all have to be able to make an understanding on. Which route do you want to go here? And one route is you're gonna go into it and say, oh, this is giving me all my answers. This is giving me everything that I'm looking for. And the other route is going to give you think this is helping me. So for me, I'm so, I guess I would say, open and free about the whole concept of we should all be able to explore and experience what it is that we want to be able to explore and experience. Because for one, I just know this. This is why I could say this, because I know that whatever you do outside of paying attention to this Bible, you're going to stumble and you're going to fumble. And especially you're going to stumble and you're going to fumble if you don't have the whole grasp and the whole understanding and the whole realization of what's going on here. If you just want to look at a little bit of it. Because a lot of us will spend so much time. I can talk about this football stuff and this basketball stuff. Some of us spend so much time knowing everything about all of that. Know all the players, know all the stats, know all the games coming up, know all the games that just happened, and everything. You know everything. I mean, you know so much. It's just crazy maddening. You know every single player. You know all the coaches. You know the assistant coaches. You know the background folks. You know all the owners. You know where every single field is and everything about everything. You know the manager for the field. You know the contractor that's out there mowing the lawns. You know it all. You know everything about that. But yet when it comes to the Bible, you don't know anything. You don't know anything about Samuel. You don't know anything about Joseph. You don't know anything about Daniel. You don't know anything about any of these people. Very, very powerful, very, very influential people before us that came before us. But you know everything about these ball players and everything that's going on with them. And that's something for me that just makes me wonder, how is it that we... Hey Johnny, you being pushy today. Get down. Get down. How is it that we today are out here just knowing so much about everything outside of the one thing that's going to be able to bring you closer to the source of life? Closer to the source of being able to have a good understanding of who you are and what you're all about, what you represent. Because there's just one thing that I do know. The more and more that we as a people, as a total society, get further and further away from this Bible, the more and more I see so much more confusion. And confusion is just like skyrocketing insane. It's just insane amount of skyrocketing. I could just watch so many videos of people that are just so confused about what the heck is going on. Why am I here? What am I about? Why is this, that? I need to change this. I need to change that. I need to go to this instead of just going to the one place that is actually going to be able to bring you some help. And a lot of us are scared of it. A lot of us, I'm going to say, are something that I don't know what it is about this, but a lot of us are scared for actual help. That we are kind of like our ways of doom and gloom, because in some sort of way, it brings some sort of pleasure to you. Because when you give someone else that, oh, I'm hurting, oh, I'm sad, oh, I'm pathetic, oh, I'm down, people will support you. People will comfort you. People will come on over. Let's watch a movie together. But when you're like, hey man, things are going pretty good. I know who I am. I know what I represent. I know what I want to do. People are kind of like, you stay over there, dude. Like, you fine. So I get it. The living in the depression, living in the suck. People get closer and closer together, and it's a weird thing, and that's a disastrous thing, because now you're no longer just in a situation that you are feeling that way. Now you're putting yourself closer with somebody who is also feeling that way. And so interesting, because there's a lot of churches that are doing such a thing today, that are just, let's all come here and be a safe place so that we can all have a place to be able to come, to be able to hang out, to be able to do. That's so dangerous, because all you're doing is putting a whole bunch of people that are sad, depressed, anxious, lonely, confused, and wondering of who they are together, and just keep on telling your stories to each other every day, to just keep reinforcing the fact that, yeah, this life does suck and nothing is good. And that's what ends up being those like ruthless type cult-like things that turn into, now you're going to go out there and do this mass suicide type thing, and just a very, very sticky situation. And I say that in a way of, I don't know why, but it just seems like more and more that's going to start happening here soon enough. It's going to start happening because there's so many people that are just so lost and so confused. And there's all this extra stuff out there that is trying to teach you that you're this and you're that, and it's leading you down an absolute rabbit hole of emptiness, of nowhereness. It's leading you nowhere. Well, we got all this witchy stuff out here, all this demonic type stuff out here, all this weird stuff out here that's like, you're the creator of this land, and you came here to teach this to somebody, and it's supposed to realize, as opposed to realizing that, no, that's just not true. That's just trying to fill your brain up with making you think that you're something that you're not. And the more and more that you think that you're something that you're not, you're going to start to do some things to some people that you think that you are okay and all right to be able to do. And that's just where we're headed to in society, because not many people today are having a realization or realizing who they are. And it's especially the younger that we keep on looking at the folks out here that are living. Anybody under the age of me and around age of me, about 40 years and below, they're struggling out here with realizing and recognizing who they are. People under the age of 20 are extremely struggling with who they are. They have no idea who they are. They have no idea what they should be. They have no idea who they should like. They have no idea who they should pay attention to. They have no idea about anything. And that's just that mass amount of confusion is just mad. It's absolutely maddening. Because we as an older generation should be showing, guiding, and teaching these people what the heck's going on. But we can't, because we're scared that we're going to step on somebody's toe. We're scared that we're going to get canceled. We're scared that we're going to get shut down. We're scared that something's going to happen to me. We're scared that I'm spreading hate. We're scared of all these things. It's supposed to just standing up for what it is that you believe in and just sticking firm to it and just saying, this is just what it is. And I don't agree with what I see going on out there. And I need to stand firm to be able to show somebody what firm is, what confidence is, what reliability is, as opposed to just running away. Because the more that we run away, the more that the younger kids are just going to keep on running away themselves. Because they're like, well, no one's standing up for me, so I got to figure out how to stand up for myself. And then if no one's standing up for themselves, they're going to go try to find something to be able to do that for them. And that's not going to be a sort of running towards finding and looking for God in any sort of way. And all that's going on is just people are just hardening their hearts more and more, hardening more and more. Because they're just like, that cliff notes of that book didn't give me what I wanted, so that is not real at all. As opposed to just really getting in it and having a good understanding of it. There's so many people today that I hear what you have to say about the Bible, and I'm just like, dude, you are so confused. Every time that anyone speaks to me about giving me some sort of rejections, hey, Shadow, we good, all done. Give me any sort of rejections and hearing what your rebuttal is, I know for a 100% fact that you never read the book. I just know that. I know 100% you didn't read it. For anybody, any single person out here that has got, the book is all about this, and the book is all about that, and the book is all about hate, and the book is all about slavery, and the book is all about oppression, the book is all about this, you have never ever read it. You never read it. And just admit that. And then once you admit that, you can move forward and actually come up with a real good, valid understanding of it from reading it and actually studying it and actually paying very, very close attention to it. As opposed to getting your cliff notes and say, this is what it's all about. Every time I hear someone say that, they have not read it. Because you can always hit them with something later on in that book that has happened. Something even in the right before that they're coming up with their arguments. And you can hit them with points. They're just like, I didn't know that was there. It always makes people stumble. It always makes them fumble because they never ever read it. They never had a good understanding of actually going through it for themselves. This book is not a book that it's going to take you a lifetime to read. And to understand, maybe. But to get the basics of the real stories, not the cliff notes, but you actually reading the entire text, the entire book, the entire thing, to be able to give you a very good understanding of what the heck is going on here, what the timeline, everything is. Why this person was here, why this happened, why this changed, why that changed, why everything was going on is written out plain English for you to be able to read and be able to understand. It's an amazing thing. It's not no hidden messages, not no hidden cues, it's not no hidden anything. It's all written in there for you to be able to very, very clearly understand. And if you don't read it, yes, you are going to have your rebuttals. You're going to say, oh, it's all about this. It's all about what? When you've never read it, if you say it's all about one thing. I promise you that. I guarantee you that. Because you haven't put that time and energy in to actually pay attention to it. You're just looking for that quick fix. And that quick fix is not going to give you what it is that you're looking for. And in reality, when you keep getting those quick fixes, all that's going to keep happening is you're going to keep getting a harder and harder and harder heart. You're going to keep on fighting yourself further and further into it. And then what you're going to try to do is try to force everyone else to see the viewpoint that you see. Anybody that believes it, you're like, oh, you're stupid, you're manning, that's pathetic. Those are the words that people use. I just don't see people that are on the living by the ways that they see and read and have a good understanding of Jesus living. I just do not see them coming out with insults and trying to name call and trying to talk down to people that don't agree with them. You'll never hear me insult you because you don't agree with the Bible that I believe. But the people that don't believe, they sure are quick to that. They'll call you every name, up, down, all the way around in the book. They'll do everything they can to try to damage you. They'll do everything they can to try to slander you. They'll do everything they can to just try to damage you. It's a weird thing, huh? Because if the book didn't work for you, why is it that I just noticed that the more people that are truly with it, truly believe in it, truly for it, just are not quick to being able to do those things. They're just so more reserved. They're so more laid back. They're so more relaxed. They're so more calm. They're so more patient. They're so more willing. But it's just it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing. Can I say that there are some people that believe it and try to live by it and try to preach it that aren't? Yeah, of course. But the majorities here and the minorities here, the majority of people that are hardcore, that are deep in it, talking about it every day, going to as many people as possible, talking about who Jesus is, you're not going to see them yelling at you and slandering you and damaging you and destroying you and name calling you. You just won't. You just won't. Because they have it in them to be self-controlled. Because that's what God gives you. When you're talking about Jesus all day long, Jesus is going to come and consume you, and the Spirit's going to come and consume you. It's going to do some things to you. It's going to do some greatness to you. It's going to bring you such a high level of fulfillment that you are not going to have to be quick to do anything outlandish out there. You're going to be really, really reserved. But when you don't have that, you're quick to try and get a reaction out of somebody. You just want to get reactions. You're just going to say something mean to get a reaction out of somebody. And that is just, to me, funny in a way. It's really, really comical. It's very, very entertaining to me at the same time of realizing where I'm at, what I'm doing must be right even more. All you're doing is just forcing it down to me even more, realizing, yeah, I definitely want to stay the heck away from that. I definitely never want to be a part of that. I definitely don't want anything to do with that, because that's what I used to be like. And now I can see how I am. Now I can review how I'm communicating with people. Now I can see how I'm talking, and I can say, yeah, I'm not on that. I'm not on that no more. I'm on something completely different. And that's an absolutely amazing, beautiful thing. And that's where, for me, I think it's an interesting challenge of a test that kind of comes to people that really do believe and say they want to believe in God and say they want God's assistance and say they want to live for God and they want to do for God. That things are going to come to you to just really, really challenge you to see what you're all about, who you all are, and where your faith actually is. Because when your faith is truly in it, you're not going to worry so much about some of these small little things that are going on out here that are just on your day-to-day situation. But when you're just not really sure, then yeah, some things are going to really, really be an attempt to get away. I don't know what it is, but since today, and especially today, things are getting more and more into this. But since the day that I decided to confess the name of Jesus, that you got me, you take the control, I'm just going to follow you, the more and more people come to me to try to get me to get away from that. People literally will straight up say that to me, that I want you to get out of that, you should get away from that, that's not for you, that's not real, that's not going to bring anything to you. The more and more people do that to me, and the more and more people do that to me, the more and more it hardens my heart towards God even more. Because it lets me know exactly what is truly real. Because there's people out there that want to try to get you to get away from it. Why you want to get me to get away from something that is helping my life out? Why you want me to get away from something that is bringing more peace to me? Why you want me to get away from something that's bringing more clarity to my life? That's giving me more purpose in my life? That's giving me more understanding of my life? That's giving me more control of my life? That's giving me more just an absolute level of appreciation to life? Just being able to sit out here and look at what I have and what's going on out here and just loving it. Just saying, this is amazing to be able to be around these trees. This is amazing to be able to work with these dogs. This is amazing to be able to have these cows over here, to be able to work with and play with these chickens, to be able to do work with and play with, and be able to create my food from here. I got 2 boys in the back, 2 cows that are about to be food next year. I got all these roosters out here in process. I just appreciate to be able to have all of this and just enjoy it. And just really, really just man, it's just amazing. Why would I want to get away from that? Having a greater appreciation, a greater love for this world, to go back into, I hate this world sucks, and I want to damage. Because I do know, when you're hurting, you want everyone else to be hurting with you. You don't want to see somebody doing good. You don't want to see somebody shining. You don't want to see somebody moving in a direction that you just don't quite understand. But I'm telling you, you can understand it. If you get out of the cliff notes of the book, and you actually read the book, and you actually study the book, and actually pay attention to the book, and you actually put the book into practice. Sometimes we just read some things. No, you need to start putting some things into practice. When you start putting some things into practice, that's where God's going to start doing some more for you. Because he's going to say, okay, I understand. You looking for me. You're desiring me. But now you're actually trying to put me out there to basically, like, in reality, test me. And watch what comes back to you. Nothing but greatness is going to come to you. Because I'm telling you, there's something that happens that to many of the peoples out here. That something happens in their life. And something happened to me in my life. That I don't care what anybody says, you're not going to get me to get away from this. You're just not. Because you don't know what has happened to me. You look at I read a Bible verse here and there. You look at a guy that talks about Jesus, and you think that you could say something on an atheistic worldview to get me to get away from it. And I'm telling you, you're far, far mistaken. That is just not going to happen. And that's not going to happen to many and many of peoples that I know. Because something has happened to them in their life that they can't just ignore it. They can't just that didn't happen. They can't just say, oh, that was some just random chaos of madness that happened. No, something designed that to happen that way, to be that way. And that's what I could say about the whole miracle of everybody being here already. Something designed it and created it for us to be here right now. Because if it wasn't, I'm telling you, I'm stuck on this evolve thing that I can't get out of this research of. If we all evolved from the same stuff, why is it that we as humans are the only thing out here that are constantly growing? That are constantly innovating, that are constantly using our intelligence to be able to get in a better way. Nothing else is. It just blows my mind on how a chicken hasn't figured out how to be able to source its own food, to be able to store it up, to be able to have some for later. But yet, we as humans do such a thing. We as humans create freezers and refrigerators and what are those things called? The underground storage and all this stuff to be able to keep our food nice and dry and nice and cool and nice and fresh. But nothing else out here does such a thing. Someone would say, oh, a squirrel does that. No, a squirrel will put it in a tree, and if it rots, it rots. We don't do that. We put it in a place that we know it's not going to rot. We put it in packaging to know that it's going to be able to last longer. When I process my chicken, I put it in this nice vacuum sealed packs, and it's good for 3 to 4 years sitting in there in the freezer. It's nice and sealed up. Hey, Shadow, we good? It's nice and sealed up, and it stays nice and fresh. I open it up, and it's super fresh. What out here does that? What out here does anything like that? So if I evolved from something out here like that, why isn't that other things out here are doing that same thing? Why is it that we are only doing that? And that's what I'm going to say is people's confusion when you don't actually read the entire book. When you just read some of it and think, I know the whole book. No, if you read the whole book, then tell me you know the whole book. But don't not read the whole thing and try to come at me about what it is and what it isn't about. That's something that you're at a lose-lose situation when you come at a battle like that. You're going to come into the battle with not knowing, for me, to talk about some football stuff. I don't know nothing about the stuff. So I'm coming into a losing situation when someone says a football player's position to me. I'm like, I don't know who that. I know what a quarterback is. I know that person that throws the ball. That's what I know. But I don't know what the other people are. So I start to say, I know about that game. And you can say something about this, and I'm going to look at you confused like, that's in there? That's a part of that? And I'm not going to know. And you're going to be able to explain the whole thing, and I'm just going to be sitting there so confused. And that's how the Bible is. That I'm reading the whole thing and read the whole thing, and I constantly keep on reading the whole thing. And I have a very, very good understanding of the whole thing. So if you come at me with 2 Bible verses, I'm going to say you showed up with no information here. Get down. You showed up here with missing and lacking information here. You showed up here with very, very high level of confusion because you thought that you knew it. You thought that you knew how the game worked out. You thought that you knew how it all was. But then someone hit you with something and you're just like, yeah, I don't know that. I don't know what's going on with that. Hey, Oriole, let's get down, homie. You being pushy. Both of y'all being pushy today. Both of y'all being super pushy today. Something that I do appreciate with some dogs, but sometimes it's a handful. I like that pushiness, but man, it's challenging. And that's where I'm going to say is that consistency is what brings you that success. That consistency, constantly staying at it, constantly going at it, constantly pushing into it, constantly just doing what you can to make sure that you're staying on top of what it is you need to be staying on top of. That consistency. That consistency is why everything looks really good. That consistency is why, yeah, I got to say it to him 2 times or 3 times, but that consistency is why he's going to say, okay, I know what you're looking for. I know what you want. That consistency. That consistency is what's going to be able to bring you that level of success that you're looking for in life. That consistency of saying, God, I need some help. That consistency of constantly saying that over and over again. That consistency, not just help, I'm struggling, I'm hurting, I'm sad, but also help, I'm doing too good and I don't know what to do and I don't know where to go. that same consistency you still put in there, and you're going to watch some great things happen to you. That consistency of picking that book up, that Bible, and start reading it. Start reading it page for page, word for word, and going through it. Start in Genesis. That's the best place to start, is the beginning. Don't go to anywhere else. Start in the beginning. Start right at the beginning of the book. Books are written from the beginning to the end for a reason. Start at the beginning. You don't just pick up a book and go right into the third way of it and start reading it. No, you start at the beginning. You get a good understanding at the beginning. And once you get a good understanding of the beginning, then you're going to get a good understanding of the finish and the ending of it. But if you don't know the beginning, you don't know what's going on in the beginning, you are going to be very, very confused when you just get into the middle of it. And that's the same concept of showing up at a football game at the wrong time. You're going to get a very, very confused understanding of what's going on here. You got to go in the beginning and you got to go at the finish. You got to figure out what's going on here to see the whole excitement of everything that's going down. Not just try to get little hits along the way. It's not going to give you the full experience of what's happening, the full understanding of what's happening. And with that, I just want to say thank you for a very interesting start of a new week, to be able to do some interesting stuff, to be able to continue to keep on doing the same old stuff that I'm doing and staying consistent with what it is that I'm doing out here. That I got some chickens I'm out here processing to get into the freezer for my food and for some dog food, and I got some rearrangement going on out here to be able to make sure that all my animals are going to be good to go this winter. And I got some things that I'm working on to winterfy some things and moving some stuff up and moving it all around to continue to keep on making sure that everything is going to be good to go out here. And it's just an absolutely amazing thing to be able to continue to keep working on. And the one thing that I am going to say is interesting is starting to get into reading some different books as well. It's not just the Bible, but some other stuff that's going on, to be able to allow me to continue to keep on researching such an amazing topic that's going to be a research for the remainder of my life. And it's something that already getting into the beginning of it, the start of it, is an absolutely amazing thing. That it's no one's going to be able to deter me and sway me away and come in and try to be tough and rough and beat your chest. Hey Johnny, all done. Rough and tough and beat your chest like, hey, I'm going to get this person to get off their game. Dude, you do not know what God has done for me. And if you came to me and was able to do something of a much greater thing, then maybe I'll speak to you. Maybe I'll hear you out. But until you're able to replicate what it is that's been able to happen to me in my life, there's just not going to be a single person that's ever going to get me to sway away from what it is that I believe. Because I can't put in words what has been able to happen for me and what the transformation has been able to go down for me. And it's just it's something that I would want more and more people to be able to experience. And that's why I would say is pick that book up and read it. Read it with an open mind, with an open heart. Read it. Pay attention to it. Study it. Get it deep inside of you. And then you're going to have a very good understanding of it and not just have it in you that you know it when you don't. When you want to know it, then read it. It's super simple for us to be able to all read it. Thank you.